400 miles in the Midwest about to get going here at Kansas Speedway.
All right.
Now you see him 4 wide already right there. You see Chase Briscoe able to get underneath last week's winner of Ty Gibbs. Still 4 wide back there.
That's what makes this track so fun. The progressive banking, these restarts, it's immediate. Speaking of immediate, look at the drag race here for the front row, the lead.
Wow, you got 2 Toyota drivers that both refused to lift.
Oh!
And all was that contact?
Right, yeah, definitely
wow.
A little bit of contact right there getting into turn 1. So hard. We saw that yesterday.
Kyle Larson, big slip up.
Yeah, we saw that yesterday in the ARCA race. The way that entry is into turn 1, you'd think that car is going to swoop up there further than it does, but that entry wall is straight, kind of cuts the angle off into turn 1.
And a good restart, or good start rather, for Briscoe, already up to 3rd.
Carson Hocevar jumped from 6th to 4th. Now Larson has repassed him, putting Hocevar back to 5th, and he's under fire once again from Ty Gibbs.
Yeah, and that's a tough pass right there off of turn 2, running the bottom of the racetrack, because that top lane carries so much momentum. You want to spend as much time as possible in that top lane. We know the tires are right on the edge at the end of these runs,
Slide
of
job.
wearing them out.
And that was a perfect snapshot of what that is. Running the bottom, it choked Ty Gibbs down right there. Huge, massive run on the outside of Hocevar. Not only got him clear of Gibbs, drove right by the 5 car.
Yeah, and you see that massive run when the cars are side by side here. See Ryan Priest pull up right on the back bumper of the 54 and the 12. So
lead change. Hamlin goes to the inside, goes back up top to cover, and drops back down in turn number 3. Let's go back and look at the contact earlier as they battled for the lead side by side.
Yeah, you see him going into turn 1 right here, and it looks like Tyler was still hanging up the racetrack, and Denny was ready to turn down into the corner and just made a little bit of contact. You can see the way that wall straightens out right there. He almost goes straight for a second.
Did you see his hood flaps fly up?
A little smoke, hood flap fly up, never lifted.
That's that negative pressure, the air around these cars at 200 mile an hour. As soon as they got close to one another, pulled the air right off the front of the 45. That was cool.
On the bottom, that's Ryan Priest steaming around the outside, picking up a spot from Bubba Wallace. He moves to 8th.
Yeah, and where this story is really going to start to tell itself is once we get 10, 15 laps into this race to see whose car is handling well. We saw it yesterday. They've created this weird little line off the turn 2 right there. They kind of go up to the wall and straighten the corner out on the exit. So we see a lot of guys doing that again today. But I believe that's hard on those right rear tires, which you want to take care of to make sure you can make it 40 laps or so.
Toyota dominated practice. They had the 5 fastest cars in practice. And here are the Toyota top performers as they run 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 6th, and 9th. Looking back from the Toyota cam the AventHealth cam on board Eric Jones.
12 and stretching.
And looking ahead from Ty Gibbs, Monster Energy cam.
Well, the name of the game is grip, and nobody's doing it better than the Toyotas. It's exactly what we thought was going to happen. Jamie?
Well, guys, Denny Hamlin qualified 2nd, but right away after practice, this team knew if they wanted to beat Tyler Reddick and everyone else in the hunt, they were going to have to make a change. Chris Gale, his crew chief, talked to him this morning. He said he lost sleep last night, literally trying to figure out how little of a change they're going to need to make the difference. Denny Hamlin himself came in first thing this morning. They went over simulation notes together, made a small tweak on it, and right now he's out leading. I think they're thinking they made the right choice.
Well, a lot of people sleep on the fact that Denny Hamlin he's a hard worker, and he's very detail oriented, and the conversations and the things that he can talk about with his teams that are at another level than most of the guys, and that's what it takes to keep your car up in the front of the pack. But they've made some good choices so far, but this racetrack is going to change a lot as we go through the day.
This is the 7th straight race at Kansas that Denny Hamlin has led. Larry.
Yeah, Mike, I've been looking at Denny Hamlin and Tyler Reddick, things they're doing with brake and throttle. Reddick drives the car deeper in the corner than Denny, but he has to use a lot more brake than Denny. Denny's able to pick the throttle up earlier. He still has to play with it a little bit, but he's picking the throttle up earlier. So Reddick deeper in the corner, Hamlin's picking it up a little earlier on the exit of the corner.
Yeah, and you can get away with a lot of different styles here. And as the pace changes, you'll see some guys really start to dump out of the throttle really quickly. Denny Hamlin, always notorious for being really smooth with the throttle, kind of having a lot of partial throttle through the corner and not lifting off the throttle all the way, but definitely a couple of ways that you can make the car go fast around this racetrack. And from a driver's standpoint, you have so many options to be able to use those different styles or where to run on the racetrack.
Tyler Reddick has the Xfinity fastest lap of the race. That came on lap 2. Reddick has led 4 races this year. He's won all 4.
Well, he's definitely been on a roll right now, and I think as we start this race and as the race keeps going through the day and the lines start to move around and it's not so straightforward on exactly what everybody's doing, as you start to struggle with your car at the end of these runs, that's where I really want to see what that 45 car has compared to this 11.
Well, as smooth as it is up front with Denny Hamlin, Reddick, look at the rat's nest back here. I've been watching Logano, Bowman, Barry right here battling. They are all over the place, swapping positions back and forth, trying to run the bottom. It's a battle back there, isn't it, Kevin?
Yeah, and they're running 29th and 30th, and I think that when you talk about that, Joey Logano had to start last. Bowman qualified back there, and they're not making a lot of ground. You know, I think as you look at +8 there for Logano from last, still going to be a long day. And if these guys go through this green flag cycle and have to make green flag pit stops, they're going to be in trouble before they know it.
Yeah, Logano and his teammate Austin Cindric are the big gainers in these first 13 laps. Christopher Bell fell back 6 spots at the start of the race, trying to work his way back forward now. He is in 14th after starting 11th. That's a -3.
Yeah, we saw him, and he's got a bunch of trash on the front of that grill right at the bottom of the splitter, and that debris on the bottom of that grill not only make the car run hot, but it'll also affect the handling of how that air, depending on how it bunches up on the bottom of that splitter, how that air goes over the car, over the splitter right there, and change the handling. I actually had that happen to me one year leading the race and got a tear off on the front of the splitter, and I couldn't even drive the car.
Back up here to 4th place, and we'll look a little further back to 15th. Where Riley Herbst and Ricky Stenhouse battle.
A little more contact right there, Mike.
Same type of situation with Hamlin and Reddick. They try to arc it, getting into the corner with a car on their outside down on their door.
15 laps complete. Now, Denny Hamlin started second here last fall, led 159 laps, won both stages, and finished second. He's leading right now.
makes sense.
Welcome back to the AventHealth 400 on Fox, presented by Toyota. Here's our aerial coverage brought to you by Goodyear, tried, tested, and proven legendary. You're watching Kyle Larson in fourth, Carson Hocevar.
Yeah, and they're swapping spots. We saw Hocevar go by the 5 car of Kyle Larson, and now it's switched.
Windy day here in Kansas. When isn't it? Winds from kind of different directions depending on where you are. Here's the 19's radio.
What's the wind doing? I keep getting a weird twitching on it too. Copy, I'm confirming with the flags here. Mostly blowing, it looks like from kind of turn 1 to turn 3.
Yeah, but if you look across the interstate, Kevin, that flag's going a different direction.
Yeah, and we kind of saw that yesterday in practice. One of the most sensitive racetracks that we go to from a wind standpoint, and you know the drivers want to know exactly what direction that is blowing, because when it's blowing against the right side of the car, it actually helps the car handle. But when it gets a tailwind down the back straightaway, it'll make it loose getting in the corner and have the opposite effect, make the front end, make the car not want to turn back down the hill in turns 3 and 4. Regan?
Well, Kevin, no word on the wind right now from the number 2 car of Austin Cindric. Started 32nd, but already up 13 positions to the 19th spot. I spoke to him this morning, and he was scratching his head about qualifying a little bit. Didn't understand why they struggled so much, but he said in race trim he did like where it was at, and so far that's been the case in the race. The only word from the driver is just a little bit too tight a couple laps ago.
Yeah, he's moved up into the top 20 now, where cars will get a little harder to pass.
Kevin, yesterday in practice when we were watching, it was about lap 28 to 30 where things started to flip a switch with the handling of these race cars. We're starting to approach that here 25 laps in.
Yeah, and that's, you know, that's when one of those tires start to get down close to the cords. Sounded like a downshift right there.
Definitely.
Brad Keselowski carrying the Trimble onboard cam. If you're not familiar with Trimble, they supply engineering data to aerospace, transportation, and building contractors. For example, we got to build this bridge. How much concrete do we need? They know.
Trimble will tell you.
Mike's always pulling something out of his pocket like that.
Well, that time he literally pulled it out of his pocket. I was like, what's he doing? Had a note.
Well, Mike Massaro called this morning. He works for Brad, and he says, hey, here, you need a little info. Well, help me out. There you go.
Yeah, you see Ricky Stenhouse right behind him right there, running 18th, so not a bad start to the race for those guys. Actually qualified pretty well and were able to kind of hold that running position to start with, but Brad went by on his way to the front. Jamie?
Well, Carson Hocevar, you guys mentioned him. He's moved up 1 spot from where he started. He told me before the start of the race that this is the best package they have had here at Kansas. He was happy with it as he gives up another spot there racing with Gibbs. But right now, listening in on his radio, he's tight, and he just radioed in, my right front is gone. And guys, we're about 8 laps away before that pit window opens for green flag stops.
And that's exactly what we were talking about. Either the right front goes or the right rear goes. I'd rather have the right front go first when that tire finally shuts off, and you just have to slow down to go to whatever the maximum speed of the car is to just try to make that thing survive until you can get to pit road.
Well, that's 4 of the top 5 all have the same emblem on the hood.
Well, here's his Hocevar's teammate Suarez gaining 1 back from Brad Keselowski. Suarez and Hocevar both started in the top 10. Suarez was the fastest of all the Chevys in practice. Told me this morning how happy he is with his new team, his new position, and the opportunity in front of him.
Well, I was worried about him. I mean, he lost his ride last year, right? And when that happens, a lot of times it doesn't go better. And it went a lot better for him, and it looks good on him. He's in a good team, a good home, and he's doing a good job.
Yeah, and it has been a definite step in the right direction for Daniel and his performance. So you just never know how the driver, crew chief, team pairings are going to work. And when you see one that works out like it did for Daniel Suarez and Ryan Preece and some of the other changes that we've seen over the last couple of years, some of those work and some of them don't.
There is a weak link, though, and it's during the race. We have the speed with the race cars with Spire. We're unloading off the truck and qualifying well each and every week with him and Hocevar. We need to hone in and get a little bit better balance for our race.
All right, we're 30 laps in. And we got drivers talking about tires, Larry.
Yeah, Mike, remember my Toyota keys to the race? I talked about splitting the 3 stages in half. This stage is 80. That would mean lap 40. But we anticipate we'll start seeing some of them come probably about 4 to 5 laps from now. But I'll say this, Denny Hamlin especially, Chris Gale, his crew chief, they're notorious for splitting it right down the middle, 40 laps and 40 laps. And with the lead they've got, especially over third, I think they've got a little cushion to maybe do that.
We're starting to get into lap traffic here, Kevin. That's when the opportunity starts knocking.
Yeah, and that's when you find out whose cars are actually handling good up front, when these leaders start to get into lap traffic. And you got to have a versatile race car here. You got to be able to run the middle of the racetrack, to do those slide jobs, run the top, run the bottom. And a lot of times if your car is just a little bit too tight or a little bit too loose, traffic will really emphasize what those characteristics are as you get towards the back of the field.
Now Zane Smith just went a lap down. He started 23rd today. Cole Custer started 27th. Ty Dillon, now the last car on the lead lap, in 32nd. He started 35th. And I believe that's Ryan Preece, the first car on pit road. He was in the top 10. And pit stops begin.
Well, this is pretty early as you look at lap 32 right here of 80. That's going to put you in a position to go a long ways, but they don't want to get lapped. They want to try to do everything that they can in case this thing runs green all the way.
Both the legacy cars are in, Eric Jones and John Hunter Nemechek, who went a lap down.
William Byron, Cindric. She's open, boys.
Yeah, and once those guys start pitting and you realize that the lap times have slowed down almost 2 seconds, you put a lot of pressure on the rest of the field to say, okay, I pitted early. I'm going to make up a second and a half, 2 seconds a lap for a handful of laps right here. Do you want to give up that time?
Both the Childress cars are in, Austin Dillon and Kyle Busch.
And you see the top of our screen right there. Denny Hamlin just continues to put him a lap down. He just lapped Ty Dillon in 26th position. So you're going to have your stuff together on this pit stop to make some adjustments on your car if you're not one of those cars that got a lap down, but towards the tail end of this lead lap, or you're going to wind up being in trouble at the end of the first stage.
Chris Buescher has made his stop. He was the fastest Ford in qualifying. Josh Berry comes to pit road. Zane Smith, who went a lap down just a bit ago. Connor Zilic is in, and Ty Gibbs. All
Ty Gibbs
stops.
Is probably the one, in my opinion, that will draw these leaders down. Little scuff on the outside of Gibbs, huh?
Ty Gibbs has been in the wall right there. You see that right rear tire all scuffed up, fenders both
right front as well.
Yeah.
Keselowski, Van Gisbergen in the pit lane. Stenhouse is in. And
Larson.
Here's Alex Bowman and Kyle Larson.
Trouble right there on the 6 car on that left rear. I will tell you though, and we talked about this before the race, if you do have trouble on a pit stop, it's actually better to do that under a green flag when the cars aren't all bunched up, and you'll lose less positions.
So half the field has come to pit road. Daniel Suarez is in.
Larson's going to run another one. Or excuse me, Hamlin.
And for Denny Hamlin right now, when he's in a position where he had a big lead, he was able to stay on the racetrack and not have to pit before everybody else. So they're all going to pit. The next thing you know, he's going to have fresher tires again for the second half of this run.
Noah Gragson and Tyler Reddick, who started on the pole, come to pit lane. Jamie?
Tyler Reddick gets the countdown into the #1 pit box. He feels really good about how the car is operating. Not a lot of feedback of what he'll need. A little air pressure adjustment in 4 tires for the 45. As you see, Denny Hamlin, I believe, on pit road.
Yeah, Hamlin comes in 1 lap later, along with Ross Chastain, Ty Dillon, Chase Briscoe, and Bubba Wallace. This should bring just about everybody to pit road. Jamie?
Denny Hamlin talked about his car just a little bit tight on throttle and a little bit loose in. Nothing to be too concerned about. Obviously, you see the adjustment right there, thinking ahead for him. Led 35 laps, hits from the lead, down and away.
Ryan Blaney with a new Jackman gets hit. Actually, he hits Allmendinger as AJ was coming into his pit. Blaney was full accelerating coming out of his. And there is Allmendinger's car.
Pull forward, net back in the stall. Pull forward, net back in the stall. Make sure you put the right tires on the right side, guys.
And he can't pit right there because he's on the line between 2 boxes.
One forward so you get straight to stall. All right, correct that real right, back up.
So the way it's cycled, Denny Hamlin, he's going to still be your leader, but Larson got Reddick in the exchange.
And you see Hocevar just coming to pit road, so they actually ran longer than just about anybody on the racetrack except for Joey Logano and Cole Custer.
So Hocevar was the leader when he came to pit road. As things cycle around, that will turn the lead over to Logano, who pits now. They're still servicing Allmendinger. He got the worst of it when Ryan Blaney was accelerating out of his pit at full speed as Allmendinger is coming in. That's in the driver's blind spot trying to get out of his pit. So whose responsibility is that?
Well, typically it's the car that is pulling out of the pits to be able to anticipate the car coming in. So usually the crew chief or somebody up on the pit box is calling that, or the spotter up on top of the roof. So you definitely, I always used to look in my mirror and try to anticipate when all that was going to happen. But I watched the Allmendinger pit stop from up here, and he's going to get another penalty for being over the lines.
42 laps complete. Here's Blaney pulling out as Allmendinger tries to get in, and they collide on pit road. NASCAR on Fox is sponsored by Trimble. Confidence at every turn. 46 laps complete in Kansas. Denny Hamlin has a 1 3/4 second advantage over Kyle Larson after green flag pit stops. Tyler Reddick, Ty Gibbs, Chris Buescher, the top 5.
Well, other than Larson, obviously he got Reddick. Larry, who was good, who was not?
Well, the real loser on those green flag stops was Carson Hocevar. Remember, he ran further than anyone. Luke Lambert, his crew chief, was splitting it right down the middle. But the whammy was a 15-second pit stop, and now he's sitting back in 18th, almost 20 seconds behind the leader.
Larry, one of their air wrenches broke during the pit stop. That was the problem reported to us on Hocevar's stop.
Well, and that's what we talk about, right? Like, it's the pit road stuff is so important. I know in this instance the pit gun broke and there's nothing they could do about that, but all these little things that happen on pit road are so hard to overcome.
So there is the pit cycle with the running order on the left and where they were when they pitted before the pit cycle began. On the right, Chris Buescher, a big gainer, up 4 spots since then. William Byron up 4, as was Christopher Bell.
The key will be, like for Buescher, he pitted early. We'll be able to see if that plays off longer in the run. I mean, that's the balance, the counterbalance, if you will. You got to get this track position somehow, some way. Getting into the pits is probably the easiest way, Kevin. Regan?
Well, Clint, just to update Ryan Blaney, we saw that contact on pit road, checked with the team. They've got pictures of it, looked at it, told Ryan everything is fine from what we can see, and Ryan told him the car feels good to him as well in terms of the steering. As for how it's been driving this race so far, started off tight, migrated to free, needed both ends of the race car to work a little bit better, but I did look at his right front tire that came off, and much like yesterday in practice, these tires are starting to string apart to where they're unwrapping around some of them, a number of tires up and down pit road like that.
Yeah, and talking about the tires, that's what I was talking about earlier. You gotta be aware of what you need to do to take care of the tires. As we see, Hocevar put Corey Heim and Riley Herbst 3 wide right there.
Whoa, pushing him high. He just about wrecked.
Here.
That was close.
Riley Herbst has been kind of a target. Last week he and Kyle Busch got together with Busch spinning early in the race, and then at the end of the race Herbst got turned around by Busch, but Kyle Busch did not go hunting Riley Herbst because 70 laps earlier he passed him cleanly, could have had contact then, didn't bother to. We looked at the video. Herbst got loose off turn 4 and Kyle Busch just didn't lift. Guess what? They started right together nose to tail today. Speaking of Kyle, here comes Denny Hamlin. I spent the last 2 days with Kyle down at the Bernadette Jackson auction in Palm Beach, where he and his wife Samantha sold a couple of their collector cars, and it was a whole different Kyle Busch than at the racetrack. He had a great time and did well.
I actually asked Denny Hamlin about this before the race. He's kind of created an ignominious situation for himself because of the fact of the things that he said on his podcast about Kyle Busch, if it was going to be a tough pass, because that's what Kyle Busch said. He's like, I can make his life hell. So didn't seem to be the case right here, but this is the way that we thought it would go today. At some point, Denny Hamlin would catch Kyle Busch to put him a lap down.
He got ignominious?
Yeah.
Talk about pulling words out of your pocket.
That's ridiculous.
Denny Hamlin owns a lead of 2 3/4 seconds now on Kyle Larson. This is Tyler Reddick, who started from the pole and is now 4.5 seconds off the lead. That's the Toyota Racing Cam on board the pole sitter.
That shows you how hard it is to pass. Reddick, obviously the fastest car this weekend on the pole, had to move down out of that outside groove and really choke down his speed. Now we're going to try to stay on the outside, but you see, if he did, well, he's going to move down and give us the opportunity to stay on that outside line, but very challenging to make passes here, Kevin. And
we've seen a lot of people run that line that Zane Smith just ran. We saw it all night last night in the O'Reilly race, where they kind of get to the middle and cut that thing straight down. Really hard on the tires. When you don't run that top of the racetrack, you want to run as big an arc around the top of the racetrack as you can to take care of the right front and the right rear tire. Now that they've all pitted, somewhat, not all of them, but a lot of them pitted early, they're going to have to run further than what they ran in the first run. I know it's only a handful of laps or so one side or the other, but still, those tires, they could struggle as you get towards the end of this run, Larry.
That pass was a half a second slower. It slowed him down. Larry, sorry.
Yeah, I kind of want to focus on Ryan Blaney. Regan Smith was talking about this tire wear. Ryan was one of the cars yesterday that had a right rear that was wore out with a little bit on the right front. He pitted at lap 38. That means he's going to have to run 42 laps on this set right here. And definitely they told him after the pit stop, the right front was wore out. I talked to Goodyear yesterday, and they didn't ever like to see tire wear, but they felt like it would get better today as the pace slowed down and the track took more rubber.
The lap times right now, Larry, to your point, about 1.3 to 1.5 seconds off the fastest laps of the day. Ryan Preece and Corey Heim racing a fourth car for Team 2311 in a part-time schedule in that 67. Up comes Brad Keselowski against his teammate, and Corey Heim trying to drive away from them.
Yeah, well, Corey Heim, we talk about how good all these Toyota cars are, and you know he was the very first car to go out in qualifying, so we expected him to go forward. He's been here and raced before, so it's not surprising to see him going towards the front of the pack.
This is Kyle Busch coming onto pit road, and look at that right front. Well, trailing
I think that's
cord.
the right rear, Mike.
I think it's the right front.
It's all the way down the side.
It's all the way down.
It's a lot of fabric hanging out of that tire, and that's not uncommon. As these tires get worn out on the inside, they'll start unraveling that rubber on the top of the tire. So definitely coming apart there.
Denny Hamlin is today's driver profile, sponsored by Toyota. 61 Cup Series wins, 10th on the all-time list, and top of the board here at Kansas with 4 victories. The first of which came in 2005 when this track was just 4 years old and Hamlin was 24. Denny Hamlin's won 5 Cup races since Kyle Larson, the second place driver, last went to victory lane.
When the sun goes down on my side of town, lights go and we hit sack. When the sun comes up.
This summer, the biggest tournament on earth comes to America, and you'll see it all right here on Fox. Get ready for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. It kicks off June 11th on Fox and FS1. Mascots at Kansas. They'll be on hand. Some of the games will be played here in Kansas City, and Kyle Busch has been on the radio. Remember, they had a tire issue on that first pit stop.
I don't know if we'll make it. Starting to feel the right front go away again. Yep. Okay, 10-4. They'll be ready for you. They got tires on the wall. Keep us posted.
Each team has 8 sets of new tires, plus the tires they qualified on. But Larry, if you're replacing them every 35 laps, you're going to be short.
Yeah, you are. You've got to be cognizant of that. But, Mike, if they're wearing out, you have no choice. You got to put some on there. Remember, he pitted fairly early, too. He pitted at lap 33, meaning he's going to have to go 46, 47 laps on this run.
And the reason that he pitted right there, we saw earlier, was all the fabric hanging off the side of the tires. And it just, you know, his car seems to be wearing those tires out a lot quicker.
Pretty hard to believe looking at this. That's Denny Hamlin lapping Joey Logano, 3-time champion. Been tough sledding so far with the 22 car.
Boy, 3 of the last 4 weeks, Joey Logano has not been among the front runners.
Look how much he's slowing Denny down, though.
Look back from our Hunt Brothers Pizza Cam on board Joey, and that's Bubba Wallace getting up and against the wall in a 3-wide battle of Toyotas.
Real easy to do off of turn 2 when you're running that top line, the way that you follow that wall around, and as you get about almost onto the straightaway, the front end always wants to take off, and just barely got up there against the wall.
Well, that was a battle. That was a 3-wide fight for 6th place.
Well, and you know who won? Bell. Thank you, guys. Got a 2-for-1 out of that exchange.
Passing Briscoe and Wallace, who now fight for 7th.
Well, 9 to go in this stage. Joey Logano is doing a good job keeping that leader from lapping him. That would be uber important if he's able to hold him off.
And the big thing for Joey Logano is he's got those cars right in front of him. So right now,
Chase Elliott almost got taken out by Bubba Wallace coming down the racetrack there, 3-wide. That was close.
You see right now, Denny Hamlin has put Joey Logano a lap down, but Logano is going to fight for his life right here as we have 8 laps to go in this stage. A lot of cars in front of him, so
he
the longer
still can't get it done.
The longer that Logano can hold him up, the better off his chances are that Denny Hamlin would lap another car to keep him from being the lucky dog.
Exactly.
Still there, 4 to the 34.
He is slowing him down big time.
Well, Logano is very good at defending. There's Logano and Ross Chastain are probably 2 of the best defensive drivers on this circuit. So right now he's doing a good job.
For a moment, I thought they were going to bring Todd Gilliland back to them, and Gilliland would have a chance to get back on the lead lap, but Logano's not done.
Yeah, and I think right here, this is exactly what Hamlin wanted to do. He wanted to get that outside position to be able to put himself in a spot where he didn't have to run the bottom of the racetrack.
That cut a second out of his lead over Larson.
Well, and the worst part for Logano is Todd Gilliland went by the 22 car right behind Denny Hamlin in this battle, so that takes him out of the free pass spot. All went bad right there for Joey Logano in a matter of a couple corners.
6 to go in stage 1 as we look back from the Ford Racing Cam on board Gilliland.
Todd did a nice job of taking advantage of Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano going at it, and being on the bottom of the racetrack at this point in the run broke that momentum.
Now they pulled up on Shane Van Gisbergen and Michael McDowell, the 22nd and 23rd place car, and Hamlin's got to thread his way through here for these final 5 laps in stage 1.
Yeah, you see the 97 of SVG right there all the way to the top of the racetrack, and that puts Denny back in a spot on the bottom where you just can't finish the corner to carry that momentum down the straightaway.
He's in a mess.
Yeah, and Todd Gilliland follows Hamlin through to get by SVG as well. So
SVG's been carrying the flag for Trackhouse. Their other 2 cars are another 10 spots back. Here's Gilliland with a chance to get back on the lead lap. Maybe. Oh, maybe not.
Well, right now he just wants to pace with Denny Hamlin.
Oh boy, McDowell almost came up too far, almost.
Larry, looks like the strategy game is alive and well today. I'm thinking about Buscher pitting early, got some track position and was able to stay there, didn't really fall off and hurt him. Your job's getting busy.
Yeah, it is, and I felt like maybe those guys that pitted early, they would pay the price late in this run, but so far they've not, Clint. But that could change as we get into these longer stages.
Pit road will close this time with 2 to go in the stage and no takers on pit road. Everybody hunting stage points here to the top 10.
Yeah, and right now Denny Hamlin has lapped through the 21st place, which is Todd Gilliland right now. This 34 car, Clint, has actually followed Denny Hamlin right up through this pack and actually had the pace to stay with him. Pretty interesting.
Just one more lap car ahead that Hamlin could catch, and that's Austin Dillon. Now, who else is worried about his right front tire? Our pole sitter. Listen.
Yeah, copy. I think some of this is the right front again, so I'll just manage. I am. Be ready. I'm going to have to try and make it back. Nick, how much gap do I got?
Final lap, stage 1.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we were talking about. Sometimes you just get in a spot where you got to slow down and manage that tire, but this guy
it gives you pretty good indication too. It's not just settle. It's you start hearing it, you feel it and hear it.
Now Gilliland wants to try to pass Hamlin so we won't have to start last and take the free pass, but the green and white checker is out and Gilliland got it done. He got ahead of Denny Hamlin before Hamlin got the flag.
He got a gift.
Okay.
Thank you. That was a nice gift.
That's Denny Hamlin's 8th stage win at Kansas, including the last 3.
they had a pit stop there at the end of the race where they got him back out front and were able to maintain the lead. But he had 7 lap cars in between him and second place, so he had the lead and he had a big gap. They had a decent pit stop, but I mean the 12 team has not been consistent on pit road with errors and slow pit stops. Clint's like, what would you do? I'm like, you don't want to know what I would do.
We know what you would do.
I'm hell on wheels when it comes to pit crews.
Join Kevin and crew every Tuesday and Thursday for Kevin Harvick's Happy Hour. Now, speaking of pit crews, here's Jamie.
Well, Denny Hamlin's pit crew is ranked 5th so far this season. It's the same group of guys that went to victory lane 6 times last year, already once this year. Let's meet Team 11.
Gunnar Purcell, fueler. Looking forward to some barbecue ribs later today.
Austin Maloney, front tire changer, former wide receiver at FIU.
Devin Euchre, rear tire changer, and I like long walks on the beach.
Joël Alexandre Balou-Bognon, jackman, et je parle français.
Bill and Dell, tire carrier, and I build hot rods in my spare time.
That's a talented bunch on and off the track.
You know, I had just told you, Larry, that Buescher, that strategy did good. We know that he pitted early, but he lost. He went from 8th to 12th on the last lap. Wonder if that was tire trouble.
Well, I think we got some radio that may tell us that. Well, what we're seeing, reading the radio, is the fact that maybe he's got a right rear issue and he slid up into the wall right before that stage ended.
Yeah, he's got some right side damage on that car. That
well, that's what we were wondering, right?
Yeah.
He short pitted, ran long on that run, and probably had a tire come loose. You can see a little damage on the right rear.
All right, the pits will be open this time. They'll fill up with Sunoco race fuel with Poet zero carbon bioethanol and get some fresh Goodyear tires. Get ready for stage 2. Regan?
Mike, the 20 car, Christopher Bell, comes to the #1 rated team on pit road, and they will be able to focus on nothing but a good pit stop because he is pleased with the car, so the balance is good. It feels really nice. The 9 car at Chase Elliott felt like he hurt the right rear tire too much in that last run. Car was balanced good, but he hurt the right rear. Jamie?
Kyle Larson said the back end a little bit edgy, got slick at the end. He actually hit the wall off of 2. They're going to make a right rear air pressure adjustment to help that grip. Meanwhile, the 11 of Denny Hamlin, who's dominated today, little free in, tight center off, nothing major for the 11.
The trouble in 45.
Chase Elliott picks up 3 spots with a 4-tire change. Chris Buescher up 3. Lee White was a professional team manager and an Indy 500 winning engine builder. He headed up IMSA GTO road racing for Roush and Ford, and it was in the same role for Oldsmobile, then became a key figure in bringing Toyota to NASCAR. He retired as president and general manager for Toyota Racing Development. Lee White passed recently, age 78.
here at Kansas Speedway. It's been about the Denny domination. Started on the front row, has stayed within the top 5, has led the most laps in your Stage 1 winner. He won first 2 stages at this race last fall, but did not end up winning that race. As we are coming to you, along with Jamie McMurray, Chris Myers, from the beginning here of Turn 1 with some nice people here. Thanks for having us up. We appreciate it. All right, so we know Toyota's Denny dominating here. If not Denny, is Kyle Larson the best chance to unseat him early in this race?
Well, clearly Larson's got the best position right now, but Chase Elliott also has been up there. The guy that I've had my eye on is Carson Hocevar. Had a bad pit stop at the first stop, drove back up to 8th, Chris, but had another bad pit stop. I think if they can get their pit stops under control, Hocevar has a car capable of getting up there and doing something.
And I know Kevin Harvick touched on it. Denny Hamlin did say on our pre-race show in regards to Kyle Busch, he said 15 years they were teammates. He said, no teammate taught me more than Kyle Busch, and I really want him to do well because it will be good for all of NASCAR. Let's go back to the booth.
Thanks. 87 laps complete as we get ready for stage number 2. Ryan Blaney spent a lot of time on pit road. They were working on the front splitter of his car and took the too many men over the wall penalty so they could get that repair made. He'll start in the back. Jamie?
Well, Mike, we heard radio from Tyler Reddick saying the right front was gone. He also said that after that last adjustment, he got so tight. Well, this is the result. This is the right front tire. Absolutely gone. He's so happy they were able to come in, make an air pressure adjustment. They waited a little longer on that stop just to be conservative, make sure that they got everything done that they needed to. We'll see where this lands him, though. Certainly watching this up and down pit road.
All right, Hamlin Larson on the front row for the restart. Carson Hocevar lost a bunch of spots with a 17.5-second stop. They had to jack the car up twice. 19 total spots lost today for him. He will restart back in 18th.
Yeah, and he's got a, like you said, I mean, he's got a car capable of running at the front of this pack, but you're never going to do it when you have pit stops like that. And that's 2 for the day.
Stage 1 went clean and green, 80 laps. Stage 2 is 85 laps. The final stage, 102. The Toyota Camry XSE pace car on pit road. And here we come for stage 2, Hamlin Larson.
Great push, teamwork for Toyotas. Reddick pushed Denny Hamlin right to the lead. I was kind of thinking Larson give him a run for his money. Here he comes to the inside crossover. Can he slide up in front of him?
I figured
He's
he
looking
would.
for it. Moving him up, moving him up. He's got it.
Now Denny Hamlin's going to be under attack from Chase Elliott. 2 Chevrolets have put themselves in a position to take control of this race. Didn't see that coming right on the restarts, Clint.
Now Reddick as well. Denny Hamlin definitely having a little trouble firing off.
Yeah, he lost a little momentum when Kyle slid up in front of him, and he's still trying to get that momentum back. Finally going into turn 3 right here, he's able to get it back rolling.
They have learned some things with the Hendrick camp. Chase Elliott, really haven't talked about him all day. Now they're running 1-2. Where'd they come from?
Well, that's exactly what they do. And Kyle Larson's and Cliff Daniels have kind of done the same thing this year. Just grind away, keep yourself in contention, and let the race come to you. And right now they've taken advantage on this restart. You see throughout the whole field, everybody knows that as this gets strung out, it gets harder and harder to pass. Need to make it happen as much as you can on these restarts.
But take this restart, put it in your pocket for later in stage 2. And see if this charge to the front at the beginning of the stage will still allow them to maintain speed late in this run.
Well, that's a good point, Mike. But, you know, when I think back at the start of the race, Larson lost spots. He was slipping and sliding around, looked loose, taking off. They have fixed the fire-off speed on the 5 car and that 9 car.
Briscoe and Bell, 5th and 6th. A lot of action back here. Austin Cindric dives to the bottom.
And there's Hocevar digging himself back out of the hole again.
Battling Gilliland, who was able to stay on the lead lap at the end of the stage.
And he's all the way up to 14th, Mike Gilliland. As you see Hocevar just slide across the back bumper of Austin Dillon right there. But as we look at this run, for whatever reason, we ran a tremendous amount of caution laps right there. And this run is not going to be shorter or longer than the first run with the amount of laps that we ran under caution. So it should be about the same amount of laps on the tires. Won't have to run further.
So on the bottom, Hocevar and Heim, who both lost a lot of spots on pit road, trying to gain them back quickly at the start of stage 2. Ricky Stenhouse was the free pass at the end of stage 1, so he's back on the lead lap. 23 lead lap cars as we start stage 2.
Yeah, and I think Tyler Reddick, as we see him on the top of the screen, trying to work over Chase Elliott right there for second position. I think he's got to be really careful about how much he leans on that right front tire. I saw him down a lane right there. You see him doing the exact same thing right there. You got to believe. I'm with Larry. I just don't know that the way that tire came apart, I just don't know that that's going to get better.
Well, how much do you adjust on your second run when you've had an issue like that on your first run?
Well, as much as you can, but the problem is you're trying to make passes, and Chase Elliott's making that difficult on you. He's forcing you to run in a line you don't want to run in. Kevin told us at the top of the show, I don't want to be on that bottom. It hurts those tires even more, but I can't go through him.
Yeah, and you know, you see, maybe they freed that car up enough to take care of
really tight here.
To take care of that right front tire a little bit more this time, but kind of concerns me a little bit for the 45 car of Reddick having to work the traffic like he is right now.
Second place changes hands. Reddick up to second behind Larson. Elliott comes back to his left rear corner and gets closed off there at the start finish line, and Hamlin comes right back to them. Michael Jordan looking on at his cars in second place.
Day 2 of his trip. He was here all day yesterday for practice and qualifying, and you know, these guys are.
Well, he's having fun, is what that tells me.
Well, you win that much. How can you not have fun, Clint?
I'd be here too. Oh, whoa. That was close.
Well, and you got to be aggressive when you're making these passes and to get them finished, because if you do all the work and make yourself get in position to make those passes and then don't finish the pass and you got to do it all over again, as close as these tires are on the edge, you got to make sure you make it happen fast so you can put that car back up where you want it on the racetrack.
Well, Michael Jordan's cars are 2nd, 10th, 14th, and 17th. A.J. Allmendinger with an unscheduled stop under green.
Well, we've seen these Toyotas, but look at this one right here, all the way from the trunk. Oh, Alex Bowman on his second return back, second race since his return, looks pretty good. Jamie, what do you got?
Yeah, something great to see for Alex Bowman, Clint. He missed 4 races for vertigo symptoms, and then last week coming back wrecked out early in the race. They were not very good to start. Started 33rd today, but they have been working on this car, and his pit crew coming through. Last stop up 6 spots. They're going in the right direction. Certainly not terrible, as he said early on.
Alex Bowman has 11 top 10s here, his most of any track. Now look at this group right here. They have really been fighting hard. Everything but contact among these 4. Cindric, Heim, Gilliland, and Riley Herbst. It's a heck of a battle for 14th.
It is a heck of a battle, but we've had a couple of those guys work their way forward.
And for the lead, or excuse me, that's not the lead, that's Larson lapping Allmendinger, who just came out of the pits with fresh tires. So the Dinger gets one of his 3 laps back as he passes race leader Kyle Larson at lap 100. It's motorsports all day on Fox. The fastest racing on earth hits the West Coast. Alex Palou, Joseph Newgarden, the stars of IndyCar. In the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach, Felix Rosenqvist starts from the pole next. Only on Fox. Here in Kansas, Kyle Larson picking him up and putting him down, ran his fastest lap here during stage 2, his fastest lap of the race after starting outside pole in his Hendrick Chevrolet Camaro. Tyler Reddick 0.6 of a second back. Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Christopher Bell, Alex Bowman up into the top 10. Chris Buescher, the first Ford, as he's been most of the weekend, he's in 7th place. $107 laps complete. 22 cars still running on the lap. How about a Sunday Fox NASCAR crank it up?
Similar to him here in the 1. Inside the 8, inside. Go get the 21. By 1.
John Hunter Nemechek, you saw the shots from his Toyota Cam as he passed Noah Gragson. They are running 1 lap down for 26th. Kyle Busch is now in the free pass position in 23rd. The first car 1 lap down. Now let's check with Regan.
Well, Mike, as you see the number 7 car of Daniel Suarez on the screen right there, we just had Crank It Up. We heard all those teams on the radios, but one car that had to change a radio on the last pit stop, Daniel Suarez, thought they got it fixed, but take a listen to this.
I don't know what he said, so we're still having the same problems. It's got to be in his helmet. We eliminated everything else. Copy, so you can't hear me. I'm not sure.
Well, that's never fun as a driver when, or a crew chief, spotter, anybody, when you don't know if the driver can actually hear you. So yet to be seen what the outcome is with the 7 car of Suarez as we ride on board the Toyota Racing Cam here with John Hunter Nemechek.
Kevin, I got some bad news for you, buddy. Larson just passed you for the most laps led here.
Oh, that's okay. I'm fine with that. I don't really have any competitive spirit anymore, Clint.
Yeah. Well, you look at that list, Kevin, you'll have second on that list for quite a while. Almost 200 more laps than Denny Hamlin led. Wow. All right, Tyler Reddick running 1.3 seconds behind the race leader. Here's his radio.
We think putting laps on the seam is the best for tight condition. Yeah, I get that. It'll make it turn, right? But I'm talking about the usage. You know what I mean? Laps on the seam will help it turn because the right front's good work starter. That was kind of my question. Yeah, I'd say just go off of your feel on the wheel. If it makes you put more wheel in, then yes. Otherwise, it's fine.
Well, that's a great point that they're talking about right there. When you look at the seams on this racetrack, and the thing that I always used to look for was there used to be a foot or two of grayer racetrack where the racetrack would be cleaner. But the seams always, and you can see it from these higher angles right here above the racetrack right here, but the seams definitely have grip, will affect the way that the car handles. Each lane has a little bit different banking as well, but you can see the different shades in the rubber on the racetrack right there. So from a driver's perspective, you start hunting around. Okay, right front on the seam. Okay, left's on the seam. Split the seams on the entry to the corner, slide up into the lane. You just start to get creative to try to get your car to do something better than what it is in its current condition. So a lot of things change as you go through this race here at Kansas with the conditions of the racetrack, the amount of rubber, and things that you have to do with the car.
But I like the way Reddick is thinking. Where can I run my car that will abuse that right front tire the least? And they're trying to sort it out. However, as they do, Denny Hamlin gets ever closer. There's a look back from the Toyota cam on board Reddick at third place. Denny Hamlin.
Well, in the first two runs of the race, I mean, Denny Hamlin beat him up pretty good at the end of the run. And right now, I believe we're going to have to run, at least 3 to 5 more laps, maybe 7 more laps to get to where these guys need to pit. But we know that at the end of these runs, Reddick has been struggling with his tires, and when that tire shuts off, you're in big trouble. You just got to slow down.
Larry, how close are we?
Yeah, Mike, we went back racing at lap 88. That means that was 77 to go in this stage. If you split it right down the middle, you're looking somewhere around lap 125, 126, 127, which is less than 10 laps, but we're already hearing some chitter chatter on the radio. Once we cross about 121 or 122, we may see them start trickling in.
Yeah, and a lot of times the cars that are handling the worst are the ones that pit first.
Ty Gibbs on pit road, and that will begin the pit cycle for Sunoco Race Fuel with Poet Zero Carbon Bioethanol and some fresh Goodyear tires.
He was screaming about his car tight, and it's not getting any better, talking about Ty Gibbs.
Yeah, they definitely missed something on that last adjustment as they went into this run, so getting in there early.
Here comes Briscoe and Bell, I believe. It's begun.
Regan?
Mike, the 20 of Christopher Bell. Late call to hurry up and get to pit road right there for him. In terms of the car, needs a little bit more turn on the after yellow flag stops. Thinks it's going to be good after the green flag, though.
Austin Cindric, Ryan Preece, Austin Dillon. On pit road, Daniel Suarez is in.
Comes Elliott in fourth. That's a strategy call.
Ty Dillon, Chase Elliott. Regan?
Chase Elliott, the 9 car, has been quiet on the radio this run, and I can tell you, looking at his tires after the previous run, some of the best looking tires on pit road, so there's a good reason for that quietness.
Alex Bowman, Chris Buescher come in for their stops. Not that many takers in the first couple of laps of this cycle, so everybody's sticking pretty much to Larry's plan here for the most part.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that depends on like I said, the handling of your race car. If you've given up positions, but you felt like your race car was pretty good the run before on the long run, you can take that chance and jump a few guys that you are around. So a lot of scenarios of where you need to be, but I think a lot of these guys might be a little gun shy because of the tire wear, not wanting to pit too early to put themselves in a position where that tire could come apart if we run green all the way to the end of this stage.
Eric Jones has been in and out. Kyle Busch completes his stop. Brad Keselowski in. As Larson completes another lap, that's 124. Keselowski's teammate Ryan Preece, so now all the RFK cars have
Here
been
they go. Here they come. Larson, Reddick, and Hamlin. 1, 2, 3 on pit road. Keep an eye on that 9 car. He's the one that short pitted him to try to close the gap on them. You see him up here in the track map.
Jamie?
See Kyle Larson pit from the lead after leading 35 laps. He did have cording on the right front after that last stop. It's air pressure adjustment and 4 tires here. Denny Hamlin on the bottom, Tyler Reddick as well. Air pressure adjustment for Denny Hamlin. We'll take a look at the tire wear too, guys.
Slow stop for Reddick.
Yeah, and you know, some of that was coming onto pit road. Denny Hamlin made up a bunch of time on Tyler Reddick.
You see the leaders taking off, and you'll see on your track map the 9 coming in. He's going to get the 11 right there on your right of your screen. That was a short pit call by Alan Gustafson. Great call. Got some track position for the 9. Let's see if it'll hold on the backside of this run. Got a little gift with Reddick having trouble too.
Yeah, Reddick lost a ton of ground on that pit stop. Got beat getting to pit road, and then he got beat. Pit crew got beat on pit road by Denny Hamlin. So
Carson Hocevar takes over the lead from Gilliland and Blaney.
That 9 car, another 9.00 second pit stop.
Yeah, they've been good all year. They've been consistent. They've been fast, and it paid off for him today. And
the addition of the strategy call to pit him a little early.
Yeah. Now on the opposite side with Tyler Reddick, I mean, he had a 12-second pit stop. So either they had a bad stop or they were making some adjustments to get that car better. Carson Hocevar right there on pit road, so going to come in and hope for a better pit stop this time. They've had a couple of rough stops to begin the race. The car's running fast today, though.
Blaney comes in with him, and that will complete the cycle. Blaney with a new Jackman this week. That's the one change they have made. And the Jackman that they hired unable to be here this weekend for personal reasons, so they had to dip down and take what was the 4's Jackman. He got the 51's Jackman, so a lot of checkers moving around on pit road to try to make this happen.
This is about the first weekend I can remember Blaney struggling. I mean, he has been, no matter what track, what the challenge, whether it be pit road or whatever, has drove right back to the front. One of the fastest cars we've seen in 2026. Struggling today.
Yeah, he's about to go lap down.
Kyle Larson goes by, completing 128 of 267 laps in Kansas. Welcome back to the AventHealth 400 at Kansas Speedway. Nice turnout here today. The campgrounds were full. A lot of cars in the parking lot and sun-drenched fans. Watching our aerial coverage brought to you by Goodyear. Legends aren't born, they're proven. Kyle Larson, last year's winner, leading Denny Hamlin by 4.8 seconds. Then Chase Elliott, and back and forth, Tyler Reddick. Jamie?
Yeah, Tyler Reddick maintaining right now, but it was a scary moment after that last pit stop. He cued the radio moments later and said, guys, it's right here. I had hard wall contact right there going into turn 1. It was significant. It doesn't look bad there, but he said it's significant enough to knock the steering off just so slightly. So that happened right after stops. He hasn't said anything about it since, Mike, but certainly we're keeping an eye on it.
So of the 7 seconds that he's behind the leader, 3 of those were due to trouble on the right front during that stop.
Well, we talked about that before the race, and that is the weak spot that kind of sticks out with this 45 is definitely pit road. But that hitting the wall like that won't make that thing drive better, Clint.
Larson up front, Hamlin, Elliott, there's Reddick in fourth. Hamlin's lead with the lap car of Noah Gragson. And back to 5th place, Christopher Bell. Regan?
Well, Mike, we told you that he felt like he might need a little more turn after the yellow flag stops. Thought it was going to be good after the green flag stop. But right now for Christopher Bell, just a little bit too tight since we've had those green flag stops. Going to need an adjustment for that.
Yeah, and that's really one of those characteristics of this racetrack. And when it takes a swing, sticks with you for the rest of the day.
Ty Gibbs, fresh off his big win. First win for him at Bristol last weekend. Running 6th, holding steady.
Yeah, we saw them struggle on the last stop to be able to get the handling right. First car to pit, back on the racetrack, so running 6th right now, hoping that the handling is improved on the car.
Bubba Wallace had a brush with the wall early and a little bit of contact, but now he's kind of settled out in 7th place, 13 seconds back.
And I really expected him to be contending for the win today with all the Toyotas up in the front. They're doing an okay job right now in 7th position, but definitely expected a little more out of the 23 overall.
Behind him, another Toyota. That's 6 of the top 8. Chase Briscoe running 8th.
Brad Keselowski in 9th. Regan?
Mike, it's been a nice move through the field for Brad Keselowski right now. Running 9th, as you just said, and a little bit too on the tight side for that car. But crew chief Jeremy Bowens told me before the race started, our strength is going to be the long runs. We feel like the longer the runs, the better that we can be. And that's exactly what's been going on for Brad so far today.
Chris Buescher back in 10th. Now, he had been the fastest Ford for most of the day, but Larry, they had trouble on their last stop.
They did, Mike. I mean, they had been money because their first stop under green was 9.2, 9.2 again at the end of stage 1, but that last green flag pit stop at lap 125, 12.7, that got him behind right there.
Well, he's lucky he's not further behind, but this guy right here, Alex Bowman, has done a really nice job. I was concerned with him after starting 33rd to begin this race and didn't really make up much ground on the first run. But man, since then, he's driven his way up to where he is currently in 11th spot, but doing a nice job for his first time on a 1.5 miles this year.
Needs one more spot because this has been his best track for top 10s. Austin Cindric also started out back after a rough day in qualifying yesterday, but raced his way up into the top 20. And now after restarting 16th, he's up to 12th.
You got Hocevar starting 6th in the race. Boy, he's had trouble on pit road today. He moves up, started up, had trouble, drove back up to the front, had more trouble. Trying to dig back out of that hole right now.
He's been the Ryan Blaney of this week.
Sure has. Austin Cindric behind him. Another car that started way back in 34th. Marched up through the field quite nicely.
And Riley Herbst Had a rough day there at Bristol last week, but here he is in 14th place, doing a good job on the lead lap. Restarted 15th.
William Byron right behind him in the 24. Been pretty quiet today. See his teammate up there, Kyle Larson. Chase Elliott up in the top 3. So a little bit off of those guys. Really struggled last week at Bristol and just hasn't been able to wrap his arms around what they need this week either.
Says he can't load the car hard getting in the corner, Byron said. Jamie?
Corey Heim behind him. He started the day 24th, drove his way up to 12th. Then he slid through his pit stops on the last round of stops back in 16th, working his way forward. You know, Corey Heim spends about every day during the week in the simulator helping out his 2311 team, and he gets a lot of credit for that. But I asked him, what about real life when you get in one of these cars? He said, the things that give me anxiety are restarts and pit stops. Those are things I can't necessarily practice in the simulator. So getting some reps here in just his 9th start ever. He will be back in the car, though, in 2 weeks at Texas.
Thanks, Jamie. Now, Austin Dillon overcame being off the lead lap early in the race, drifted back, but now he's back on the lead lap and running in 17th, the best of the RCR cars. Toys for Tots on there this week. Todd Gilliland, we mentioned, got back on the lead lap, or stayed on the lead lap at the end of stage 1. Ryan Preece completes the RFK trio. He's had a lead lap finish every race this year, one of only 3 drivers to do so. And the last car on the lead lap is Daniel Suarez, who was the fastest Chevrolet in practice and the 2nd quickest bow tie in qualifying. And that takes you through all of the 20 lead lap cars at lap 147, with Kyle Larson out front.
Next week, NASCAR is headed to Dega, home to speed, drama, and the big one. ARCA kicks off the action on Saturday with racing at 12:30 p.m. Eastern on FS1, followed by the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series racing at 4 p.m. Eastern on the CW. Then on Sunday, the Cup Series will hit the track at 3 p.m. Eastern on Fox.
New stage lengths at Talladega. We'll talk about that later in the telecast. Welcome back to the AventHealth 400 on Fox, presented by Toyota. 153 laps complete. Kyle Larson leading by 3 seconds. Let's go back to 25th place. And Eric Jones. We're going to go inside ride with Eric in the AventHealth car.
Yeah, this is such a cool camera view right here on the spoiler. It gives you a great view of how close to the wall they get in certain sections of this racetrack.
Still plenty of room to work here. Coming at 10 to go on the stage.
Kyle ahead of him on track. They're both 1 lap down, along with Suarez, Blaney, Stenhouse, and Custer.
Yeah, and you see immediately he starts searching down the racetrack. Preferred groove up against the wall. Kyle Busch is obviously in that lane, so Eric Jones is like, man, I got to get myself in a position to get some clean air on the front of this car.
You can see the draft that he gets down the straightaway, but hear how much he's out of the gas and the front end takeoff. That car gets smaller in front of him. That's the wake that these things with a diffuser make behind them. Have to get out of that wake. Makes your car really tight.
Now they've added another element to Eric's Racing to Read program, where he goes and visits schools and reads books to kids. His teammate John Hunter Nemechek now comes along and brings his pickleball gear and gives the kids a round of pickleball after Racing to Read. That's your AventHealth inside ride. Ty Gibbs, 7th place, about 4 seconds behind Bubba Wallace in 6th.
Yeah, and remember, he's the very first car that pitted on this pit cycle. So these last 8 laps right here are going to be super difficult to hang on to the track position that he has with the way that the tires fall off at the end of these runs. So it'll be interesting to see if he can keep that car together for the next 7 laps.
Very special weekend for Bubba. Not only is his team co-owner Michael Jordan here, but Bubba carrying some very special colors and a special cause to him.
This weekend's a special one for me and my family personally. 300 start. I'm honored to, have another shot, have another Sunday to go fight for a win, and now having the Boys and Girls Club jump on, it's just special.
Well, Ned Jarrett was the first NASCAR Cup driver to win in his 300th start. There have been quite a list of them, starting with the 2-time champ. And there they are. Most of them are in the Hall of Fame or headed there. And Bubba's pretty happy with his car. Let's listen.
Hey, man. We're good enough to win. Let's keep ourselves in it. Yes, sir. Doing great out there.
Well, that's always a good sign from the top of the pit box when you're wondering what you need to do. Right now, from the way that he's explaining that car on the radio, he just needs some track positions. Looking at the lap times right now, he's right in the game with our leader, Kyle Larson. Denny Hamlin a little faster than both of those guys that lap, but not much. So definitely has the lap times to keep himself in the conversation if he gets the track position up front.
So right now, 3 Chevys, 5 Toyotas, and 2 Fords trying to get stage points. That's your top 10. With Hocevar about a second ahead of Chase Briscoe for that final stage point.
And when you see Buescher on the screen, you look over to the pylon, and Kevin, you and I have been talking about this throughout the year. RFK does a good job of just quietly taking care of business in the point scenario when you start thinking about championship and year-end situations. They're not where they need to be, but they're taking care of business on points for sure.
Well, and the biggest thing with the 6 car is Brad Keselowski is he's got to qualify better. We see, you know, Chris Buescher qualify better, and for Brad today, it's going to work out, as you see.
But they just don't go run themselves out of business chasing a magical setup that's not there. They stay in their wheelhouse, stay true to themselves, and get the points.
3 drivers have finished on the lead lap in every race, and they're all on the lead lap right now. Tyler Reddick, Brad Keselowski, Ryan Preece.
You can tell 54 is in big time trouble. I wouldn't be surprised if a tire's coming back apart. Did you hear his throttle?
Yeah, definitely sounds like it's tight.
Only got to hold on for 2 more laps, and we'll be at the end of stage 2.
Well, that's what he's doing, holding on. Praying that tire holds on. He's in trouble.
Is this a tiring race to drive?
Well, anytime that you get a green flag run like this with consecutive laps, basically 3 runs in a row, you had the stage break to break them up.
One more
but
segment.
anytime you have to run these consecutive laps, I mean, from the driver's seat, it can be taxing just because you're in there so long, tensed up and trying to do everything that you can to get the most lap time out of the race car.
Kyle Larson takes the green and white checkered flag for his 3rd stage win of 2026.
This is uncanny. Keelan and Kevin together. I'm not sure which is which, mate.
When I first saw this video that Flo posted, I was like, I had to rewind it. And you look at his hand and the way that he turns the steering wheel and everything that he's doing in there, I'm definitely glad to know that he's 100% mine.
That's the new show Speed with Harvick and Buxton, fueled by Poet. That's quite an uncanny video. I know you taught Keelan how to drive, but you didn't teach him how to drive exactly like you, did he?
I was pretty freaked out when I saw that video for the first time with the way that he holds the steering wheel and the way that he kind of chops at the wheel and turns his hands. So
wow.
Yeah, we have fun on that show, but it was that video was pretty intriguing.
That's cool. What's for lunch?
Well, guys, if you come to Kansas with old Clint, You got to have some good barbecue. And if you're going to have good barbecue, it better say this emblem right here on it. A lot of good barbecue, Q39. There's a bunch of them here, but Jack Stack's my favorite. And I figured I'd give my old buddies some Jack Stack. Here you go, Kevin. And if you're going to, the Kansas City connection is definitely burn-ins.
Burn-in.
Burn-ins are where it's at. Try you one out.
Go ahead, Mike.
No, they smell good.
I'll do it for you.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that's them.
Okay.
That's definitely them.
Good
Try
job.
one.
All right, we're going to leave Clint holding the bag, and then it's time for pit stops while we
Guys,
grab a little bit of
missing
lunch,
out.
while we look at what's coming up next week on Fox. NASCAR race day, 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. We're on Fox with the Cup race at 3 on Fox. Austin Cindric won last year's Talladega Spring Race. Brad Keselowski leads all active drivers with 6 Talladega Cup wins. And NASCAR has flipped the script. Instead of, like at Daytona, having the final stage the longest stage will be first, and the last 2 stages will be short. And that means, as we get toward the end of that race, fuel saving, we hope, Larry Mack, will be out the window.
Can't guarantee anything, but that right there, once we clear stage 2, it's wide open to lap 188.
I love the fact that Larry is like hedging his bet, because you just never know what these teams are trying to do from a strategy standpoint.
Where's my burnt end? Am I not a buddy down here too?
Yeah, you're on the burnt end down there.
I'll send a runner down there, old buddy.
Look at Ryan Blaney's fastest stops this season, and they came right here. A change at the jack position. He was going to get Josh Berry's jack man from last week, but they had to make a last-minute audible call, and yet that team has done very, very well. Regan.
Well, Christopher Bell continuing to have a good run today. A few more complaints this run. The ride quality's not as good for him right now as what he wants, and he went 2 free everywhere except entry as that run progressed on. In the 9 car, Chase Elliott just looking for a little more overall grip in the middle of the corners. Jamie?
Balance pretty good for Kyle Larson. Very quiet that last run. He just wanted to know where all the others were running on track around him. That's Cliff Daniels standing tall on the wall, talking to his driver, counting him down. And meanwhile, the 45 of Tyler Reddick. He wants to know what that right front looks like. Remember, he had that steering issue after getting into the wall, Mike.
Well, Larson is not going to win the race off pit road. He's going to come out 3rd behind Hamlin and Bell.
Chase Elliott, he was a big loser in that one. Big trouble for the 9. Oh, he's blocked in, Kevin. Can't get out.
Yeah, he tried to spin it. Just didn't work.
Live here at Kansas Speedway, where Kyle Larson, in fact, his last win came here. He is trying to get his first victory of the season and win this race for the 3rd straight year. Quick recap of highlights on the front row. Denny Hamlin, Tyler Reddick, Toyotas. Little contact made. Reddick got out in front, but Hamlin led the most laps in that early going.
Yeah, in the first green flag pit stop we have, you see Blaney pulling out of his pits, makes contact with Allmendinger. Had a little bit of damage on Blaney's nose. He's now a lap down in 21st.
Denny Hamlin, the stage 1 winner, led 83 laps, but then in stage 2, Kyle Larson, lap 89, gets out in front as far back as 16th at one point and becomes the all-time lap leader here at Kansas. All right, Jamie Little, inside 97 laps to go here. Who do you like the rest of the way? I know on the pre-race show you picked Denny Hamlin, but you're leaning towards Larson at the moment.
No, I still like Hamlin. I think it's all going to be all about the restart, who can get out front. But the story to me that's going to happen now is that they're going to have to make the longest 2 runs, if this goes green, that they're going to see all day long. And it just seems like the tires are right on the verge of being worn out. We've seen some issues today with guys, so it's going to be about managing that and just getting great restarts here, Chris.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like we're seeing a lot of cautions, but you never know in the final few moments.
Oh, you jinxed us.
Race.
You
and
jinxed
stage 2, I think you never know, right? It's happened. That's how it's gone. No stage 2 winner has won a race this year. I thought it was a good note, unless you're the stage 2 winner. Let's go back to the booth.
95 laps to go. Be the longest runs of the day here. Kyle Larson, last year's winner, came out of the pits 4th. So Denny Hamlin will line up with Christopher Bell. Reddick with Larson in row 2. Take a look at the difference here on pit road as Hamlin came out first.
Yeah, he beat him everywhere. Denny Hamlin beat Kyle Larson on down pit road. Crew beat him in the pit box and ultimately got him back control of this race. And you see on his outside right there, Christopher Bell, same thing.
In the top 10 for the restart, 6 Toyotas, 2 Chevys, Larson and Hocevar, 2 Fords, Buescher and Keselowski. 5 cars took the wave around. Smith, Chastain, McDowell, Allmendinger and Ware, none of them back to the lead lap. So we will restart with 20 lead lap cars, including Daniel Suarez, who got the free pass at the end of stage 2. The only cautions we've had, as Chris pointed out, are for the ends of the 2 stages. Best restarter in the business, Christopher Bell. Let's see what he can do against Denny Hamlin as we begin stage 3.
See Bubba Wallace right there up on top of the racetrack. Put those cars 3 wide down the back straightaway. We heard him talk about how he thought he had a winning car. Well, he just put himself in a way better spot to contend for the lead.
Behind them, Briscoe took them 3 wide on the bottom. Herbst took them 3 wide on the top.
Heating up for the lead. Here comes Bell looking to the outside. He's there. Haven't seen him all day. That one's dangerous. You put him out front.
Well, we talked about him yesterday when he had to go out so early in qualifying. Put him back there 11th or 12th. Fell back a little bit at the beginning of the race and has worked his way back up. Pit crew had a great pit stop that last time on pit road. Here he is leading the race now.
Yes, if he had not been in practice and qualifying Group 1, Bell might well have had a chance to win the pole instead of starting back in row 6. Ty Gibbs around the outside of Herbst. That's going to be for 10th place. Now underneath. Keselowski for 9th place. Pulling down on Briscoe for 8th place. Last week's winner.
Made a few passes right there. They've definitely struggled on these restarts to keep the track position. See Briscoe all the way up against the wall right there. He had a nice restart as well, but so interesting on these restarts to see the different lanes and how long you can run the bottom of the racetrack, as Bubba Wallace Still holding that 4th position in front of Kyle Larson.
Larson, last year's winner of this race. His teammate Chase Elliott won the fall race here. Elliott back in 12th. 4 Toyotas at the front. Kyle Larson's trying to change that right here against Bubba Wallace.
Little 3 wide action here. Gibbs, Keselowski, and Briscoe getting after it. It's going to heat up. These restarts starting to run out of time. 89 to go. Frustration sets in. Been racing about one of those guys.
And you saw Ty Gibbs right there. He was going to the bottom of the racetrack, and that's the cat and mouse game that you have to play from a driver's standpoint. He goes to the bottom, you got to go to the top. He goes to the top, you got to go to the bottom. You don't want to be in the same lane.
Well, now instead of showing you the scheduled car commercial, thanks to Toyota, we're going to stay right here on track in Kansas and go Toyota all out. Those Camrys occupy the first 4 spots right now. Bell, Hamlin, Reddick, and Wallace together, separated by a total of about 3 seconds.
Yeah, and the one thing that's pretty interesting about Christopher Bell right now that I noticed just right there through 3 and 4, he's actually migrated a little bit closer to the wall than we've seen a lot of those cars running. I don't know if he just slid up there that lap or if he meant to do that on purpose, but this racetrack, the line definitely changes. You got to constantly search to be able to put yourself in a spot. That's
you know who does that best? Dirt racers.
That's right.
Bell just ran his fastest lap of the race 5 laps ago. In 9 of his 13 career wins, he didn't lead until lap 100. Same song, maybe 10th verse today.
And we know for Bell, he doesn't want to qualify in the pole. He's never won from the pole.
Right.
And apparently he needs to lead late in the race to have a chance winning. So it's all lined up perfectly for Christopher Bell today.
It's making sense, though. This is the 9th straight Kansas race that Bell has led laps.
And that's the longest ever streak at this track in its 25-year history.
His win's coming.
And look, if this race runs green, and that's been the trend that we saw in the first half of this race, if this race runs green, we know that the best pit crew on pit road sits in that 20 pit stall. They've been consistently the fastest. All the rankings, everything that they have is the best that there is on pit road. So they got it all pointing in the right direction right now for Christopher Bell for this all to line up today.
Denny Hamlin in the picture, just 0.6 of a second back. Now Tyler Reddick sitting in 3rd, 2 seconds off the lead. Passionate about his cars on and off the track, and here's how Toyota supports Reddick's passion.
I think you see the presence that they have at the racetrack, how they activate with the cars that they're selling currently. Some are more on the sporty side. Some are more on the side of getting you to work every day. Some are more on the side of what makes sense for the family. You know, when you think of all the different things they're involved in motorsports, whether it's dirt racing or Formula Drift, they like to go fast and have fun too.
And that's Toyota all out. 83 laps to go. Ty Gibbs not loving his car right now. Listen in.
And I'm so tired. Focus up, homies. I'm working on it.
You know, in a tight race car, that's all you can do is wait on it to turn 2. If you could give him an audio of a loose race car, it doesn't sound like that, does it, Kevin?
Oh, boy.
Fix this thing, it's loose.
Yeah, and really here at Kansas, a tight race car is hard to deal with because of, especially when you're running high. You got a lot of partial throttle, and you want to get that car to rotate about the 5/8, 3/4 mark of the corner, and then it won't rotate, and then you got to lift back out of the throttle to wait for the car to rotate. So it's a fine line between making your car comfortable to drive with the back in the racetrack and getting the front to turn. Jamie?
Well, one car that's feeling pretty good right now is Bubba Wallace in fourth. This car has just come to life the last about 50 or so laps. Remember, he was leading on the last lap here in the fall when he got together with Denny Hamlin. He also has a win here. Talking to him, though, about this paint scheme, the Boys and Girls Club of America. He was a Boys and Girls Club member when he was a child, has great memories, and on April 30th, he will be inducted into the Boys and Girls Hall of Fame in North Carolina. That's something near and dear to his heart, and I know he wants to get to victory lane to celebrate with them and all that they've done for him in his life. So Bubba holding on, pretty happy with the car, just doesn't want to get what Ty Gibbs has, and that's too tight.
Well, he's driven up into the top 4. Kyle Larson in 5th after a tough pit stop. And Christopher Bell seeing his Denny Hamlin get ever larger in his rearview mirror.
So here's the opportunity. What you look for when you're trying to pass, there it is right there. Cody Ware, the lap car in front of Bell. As he catches him, it's important to catch him in the right place and not slow you down with Denny Hamlin hot on your heels.
Well, he definitely caught him in the right spot right there. Denny Hamlin as well. Doesn't give him any problems, so.
Forced Denny's hand to run on the bottom, though. It wasn't necessarily, when I say catch him in the right spot, that's not the best place. You want to try to catch them as you're getting off the corner, but if you're Denny Hamlin, that's exactly the opportunity you look for to pounce on as that leader, Bell, is catching them. Forces him out of his line. Maybe you can stay high, get a run on him up off the corner. Those are opportunities with these lappers.
Ross Chastain coming back up on track after an unscheduled pit stop. Here's Regan.
Well, Mike, the 19 of Chase Briscoe spent most of the day inside the top 10, but right now, much like his teammate Ty Gibbs that we just talked about, struggling with that 19 car. Told team, I cannot get it to turn down the hill at all. Way too tight with the front end.
Thanks, Regan. Actually, Chastain, that was a scheduled stop. He was one of the 5 cars that took the wave around at stage end and was out of fuel, if not out of tires, by now. That means we will see Zane Smith, A.J. Allmendinger, Michael McDowell, and Cody Ware on pit road pretty soon. 191 laps complete, 76 to go on a caution-free day, except for the stage breaks here in Kansas. Christopher Bell leading Denny Hamlin by about 1/3 of a second. Well, today, a lot of the positioning that we see on track at the moment is because of the efforts of these pit crews. Make no mistakes. Fast stops keep you up front. Slow stops send you to the back. Contact, well, that's a whole nother thing. We are 70 laps to go. And by example, Carson Hocevar's crew, Hocevar in 7th place, they have lost him 19 spots today, but he's passed 25 cars to get them back. Here's the Progressive Race summary. Christopher Bell, the latest of 6 leaders, 11 lead changes, 20 lead lap cars. Gilliland the last of those. The only cautions have been for the stage breaks. Hamlin and Larson, the 2 stage winners. And Christopher Bell has extended his lead on Denny Hamlin, pretty much doubled it from when we went to break. Now at about 7/10 of a second.
Yeah, the lap times right now, I mean, they're pretty even. I mean, Denny was a couple hundredths faster on that particular lap, but the guy who's a fair amount faster the last few laps is Tyler Reddick and Bubba Wallace, the 2 cars right behind them. They've been putting down, you know, a 1/10 and a half or so better lap times than both of our leaders. So, like I say, a lot of that has to do with where you are on the track from a track position standpoint. Sometimes you get to a point in a run where somebody finds a better line or doing something a little bit better. So it's very dependent on situations that are happening with traffic and different things at different scenarios. But all 4 of these cars are pretty evenly matched.
Now you look at that last lap, fastest cars on track, Christopher Bell in 1st and Bubba Wallace in 4th. Want to wish Jack Roush a happy birthday, 84 years young today. He is the R in RFK. Roush, Fenway, Keselowski. His car's all on the lead lap, 6th, 9th, and 12th right now.
Happy birthday, cat in a hat. Done a lot in his life, hasn't he? Pretty cool cat.
Won in drag racing, in Trans Am, in IMSA, and in NASCAR. Well, let's show you Carson Hocevar's day. Wow.
It's been a struggle on pit road today. They've definitely got to clean things up on the pit stops to be able to take advantage of the performance that they have in their race cars. So Carson's done a nice job of keeping that car clean and making those spots up as they lose them.
There is Hocevar just ahead of Ty Gibbs on the monster cam. Giving him a wave.
And off behind. Just a full clear, 1.5, now 2.
And that's how 7th place changed hands.
Not
Coming
so
right
fast.
back at you.
That's Gibbs not being able to complete the throttle on the exit of the corner with that car being tight. Got tight and had to lift. Drove right back by him. That's super frustrating, Kevin.
Yeah, and Hocevar actually pointed him by to go ahead and finish the pass, but he let off the throttle so much that Carson was easily drove back around him. But you can definitely hear from that in-car camera of Ty Gibbs, him working that throttle, definitely still fighting the front tires.
63 laps to go. We're going to have at least one more pit stop, and we'll talk with Larry about that when we come back. Coming up next, the fastest racing on earth, Alex Palou, Joseph Newgarden, and the stars of IndyCar take on the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. The road to the Indy 500 continues next, only on Fox. Here in Kansas, our aerial coverage is brought to you by Goodyear. Tried, tested, proven legendary. As Christopher Bell leads Tyler Reddick by 1.1 seconds now. Denny Hamlin third, 2 seconds back. Bubba Wallace, Kyle Larson, the top 5. Here's Regan on our leader.
Well, Mike, Christopher Bell out front doing a very nice job right now. Been a lot of back and forth on that radio throughout the course of the day about what they needed for green flag stops and yellow flag stops. Take a listen real quick.
It's pretty decent right here. Just don't let it go free on this last run. You feel like you need to be tighter? Maybe a quarter number. Exactly. Do you need it? Definitely yes.
Clinton, Kevin, I love hearing a driver give that much detail about exactly where they need to have something changed for the final run of a race. That's a good sign when you can be that focused and leading the race.
Well, you're right, Regan. And when you can get that feedback from the driver like you're getting from Christopher Bell right there, it makes your job so much easier.
So, Larry, 55 laps to go. When do we expect that what may be the final stop of the day?
Yeah, Mike, this is a chess match right here. We went back racing with 94 to go. If you split it right down the middle, that's 47 laps to run. That's about 7 to 10 laps further than we've basically run anybody. I think that's the way you've got to go, but I think about Ty Gibbs, as tight as his car is, will his right front even go 47 laps?
And Denny Hamlin, Kevin and I have been watching him too. He's really fallen off in the last couple of laps. I think he might be holding on.
Yeah, I mean, he has definitely lost a few tenths to the front 2 cars, and he was right with them up until 3 or 4 laps ago.
Now, Christopher Bell has been under fire from Ross Chastain, who went by because Chastain was just on pit road 20 laps ago. Remember, he was on that alternate strategy when he took the wave around at the end of the stage, so he flew right by the race leader. So Christopher Bell is kind of walking the dog right now, trying to get to that pit stop.
He's going to be under fire from Tyler Reddick here shortly. Got him by 4/10 that lap when he got hung up in traffic. Now Reddick's dealing with that lap traffic now, but for the last few laps, Reddick's definitely been the better car at the end of this run.
Reeling him in.
And that 47 lap mark, that's 6 laps from now, lap 220.
Well, first Reddick's got to deal with Cody Ware, who also got some fresh tires there, pulled up alongside, couldn't complete the pass, and drops in line. Briscoe and Hamlin on pit road to begin another green flag pit stop cycle, Jamie.
Well, Kevin noted that Denny Hamlin had fallen off a bit those last handful of laps. Just a little too tight is what he said earlier on in that run. 4 tires stop here, go on the jack, don't have to wait on fuel.
Well, you hear the don't wait on fuel part. You see hopefully the back of the car got full of as much fuel as possible to keep the balance right on that car, but they are definitely not going to wait on it.
Cody Ware completed the pass of leader Christopher Bell that time. Again, Ware on fresh tires.
Yeah, that goes to show you the difference in a new set of tires. That's the last place car passing the first place car. So
right.
Drastic difference when you put those new tires on these race cars from a lap time standpoint.
Austin Dillon has stopped Alex Bowman in his pit. Austin Cindric in the pit lane along with his teammate Joey Logano. And here comes Ty Gibbs to the pit road.
I like Denny's putting pressure on him. Obviously short pitting there. That won the race last year here.
Well, I definitely won it last night.
Last night.
That's for sure. But I think right now, I mean, unless they made an adjustment on Denny Hamlin's car at the end of this run or clean air makes it better, he was definitely not as good. But having that track position will at least give you a chance.
Larson on pit road.
Larson, Van Gisbergen, Keselowski coming in. Bowman completed his stop.
And we've seen this 20 car at these style of races where everybody starts to pit. We've seen them do this so many times where they stay out on the racetrack and run extra laps compared to the rest of the field and then work their way back through the field. So the biggest thing that you don't want if you're Christopher Bell right now, but you do if you're Tyler Reddick, I want to beat him to pit road. I want to try to pit before that 20 car to try to jump him with the fresh tires for one lap.
Well, obviously the 11 running them down, I mean, it's putting the pressure on him. I agree with you about Reddick, but you see Reddick shooting to the bottom now.
Regan.
I'm thinking he's coming.
Chris Buescher in the 17 car been battling with that car being too tight in traffic this last run. Otherwise, not too bad, just the traffic issues.
Well, you saw Tyler Reddick dive to pit road right there. And if they have a clean pit stop, he's going to be in front of Christopher Bell when this is over.
He pushed hard coming on the pit road too. Did a good job.
Yeah, but he doesn't, as long as they have a clean pit stop, I mean, just the amount of lap time that he's going to gain on these new tires is going to put him in front of Bell.
Jamie?
They had just told Tyler the lap before, we're going to pit with the 20, so he opted to come down before the 20. 4 tire stops, said he wants to be just a touch freer. That's it. No chassis adjustments, air pressure only.
Bubba Wallace finishes his stop. So does Chase Elliott. Regan.
Well, you see the 20 of Christopher Bell. His guys have been ready for about the last 10 laps. They were trying to time it out and sequence it just right as to when they hit pit road, as well as not have issues with the 41 car who was pitting in front of them.
Well, he hit it right on Larry's number. 47 laps, splits the stage for this final run to the checker.
Keep an eye on that. That short pit by the 11, he's definitely gonna beat the 20 out.
Yeah, and
Can he keep it though?
He's a half a straightaway ahead of Tyler Reddick, so.
Big.
Now, Daniel Suarez began this run as the last car on the lead lap. Suarez has cycled through to the lead. As you see his number 7 up on the graphic at the top of the screen. But when he makes his pit stop, he will possibly fall off the lead lap. That's kind of the gamble of running long like this.
So that was 5 laps short pitted, and I'm talking, whoa, hold on to it, Suarez. Suarez has got trouble. I think he's got a tire down.
He's
really
up in
slow.
turn 2, almost against the wall. Now brings it down.
Limping it back.
Off pace.
What about
So that gamble of staying out long is not going to pay off for Daniel Suarez, but he will make it to pit road as Denny Hamlin reassumes the lead.
So that short pit, that was 6 laps to Bell and 5 to Hamlin, or excuse me, to Reddick. That was a heads-up call, and I think if something doesn't happen here, they're going to have a tough time running that 11 down. Could be the winning combination, Kevin.
Yeah, well, the biggest thing that the 11 can't happen is what happened at the end of the previous run where he fell off really bad. Hopefully being able to have a little bit more clean air allows that tire to last a little bit longer this run, or the adjustments make up for the handling deficit that they had the last run. But both of those cars of Reddick and Bell had him covered at the end of the last run.
And that 4.3 second advantage Hamlin had at the end of the pit cycle is sands falling through the hourglass pretty fast. Reddick's already knocked more than a second out of Hamlin's lead.
Yeah, and that's right here. This is not what Tyler Reddick wants to see, having to deal with the 34 car.
Gilliland trying to stay on the lead lap, but now 1 lap down.
You know, I'm glad you said that, and the flip side of that conversation is Denny Hamlin. Look at all the cars that are in front of him slowing his progress down. Not exactly ideal for a short pit situation. Mired back in traffic's preventing him from running big laps.
Well, there's the green flag cycle. Christopher Bell, by waiting so long to pit, that cost him his lead. He's back in 3rd place now.
Yeah, and that's the guy that really got snookered on that pit cycle. 45 just beat him to the punch right there to get to pit road first and jump over Christopher Bell. Larry?
Yeah, just looking at the actual pit stops, the time they were in the box, Denny Hamlin was 10.6, Tyler Reddick was 9.5, 20, no surprise, 9.05.
41 laps to go. Tyler Reddick has now cut Denny Hamlin's lead down to 2.5 seconds.
isn't it?
Oh, what in the world?
We've had some wild finishes in this spring race at Kansas and some incredibly close finishes. So much so that Chris Buescher puts his phone away this week because everybody replays this one, the closest finish ever, in which he came out on the short end. What'll happen today 34 laps from now? Well, things have changed since we went to break. Denny Hamlin has opened up his lead now to 3.3 seconds on Tyler Reddick, and it looked like Christopher Bell got against the wall and then surrendered fourth place to Bubba Wallace.
Yeah, and right now Denny Hamlin and Tyler Reddick are going through the same lap traffic, and that sequence didn't quite work out as well for Reddick that time through traffic. But
let's go back and watch him. You see him up on the top of your screen in the wall pretty good, right in the middle of 3 and 4. All the way down, still in it. Finally pulled it out of it.
And then one lap later.
Oh, whoa, man. Bubba Wallace had to come up the racetrack right there because Ross Chastain was a groove, 2 grooves off the bottom, right in the middle of the road, trying to get to pit road.
That was a wreck that just didn't happen for whatever reason.
Yeah, we almost had our first caution for cause today, other than the 2 stage breaks.
As hard as he got into the wall, I'm surprised that car's holding on as strong as it is. Still running 5th. Doesn't seem to slow it down any.
Yeah, well, it cost him a couple spots, but
he got right back to race pace.
He did.
Yep. Around the turn, next on Fox, Indy cars from Long Beach racing on the streets in one of the longest running street races in the world. This will be a lot of fun next on Fox. The Cup Series goes to Talladega next Sunday, 3 p.m. on Fox, and also next Sunday, the NHRA 4-wide Nationals, 7 p.m. Eastern on FS1. Denny Hamlin, one of the favorites today. He has been out front 5 times for a total of 102 laps so far after starting this race from the outside pole.
Well, this guy right here is definitely making up some ground, but he's got a long ways to go. Needs to clear this car of Shane Van Gisbergen as quick as he can to get that clean racetrack.
Still even. Still their door, quarter, bumper, clear.
I really think if it goes green, it's just going to come down to tire management and saving those, and Denny Hamlin does that as good as anybody. A lot of experience and wisdom behind the wheel. 21 years he's been doing this. He knows how to save those tires, and that short pit call. I think Chris Gale's got their number if we don't see something. If they don't have trouble, right? It boils down to tire management, like I said.
Well, he's got a gap to play with, and I think that as we get to the end of the run, you're going to probably see him have to manage that, because we know how bad that the 11 fell off the last run. But he also has way cleaner racetrack this time, and you see the 11 and the 8.
Yeah, during the stage break, Kyle Busch made 2 extra stops. One was a long stop with the hood up, making major changes to that Richard Childress Racing number 8. And Busch is now 5 laps down. So here is your first and last place car in this race right now with 28 to go.
You know, and looking at Denny and thinking back on that, I mean, it wasn't like it was a second place car running a leader down. He was a 3rd place car. So that was, you know, you knew when you're that far off, you've got to set yourself aside quite a bit. And, you know, 4, 5, 6 laps was a big call by Chris Gale. Made the difference, so put that car right back up front. Put it in the driver's hands.
But let's consider the top 5 cars. Of them, Hamlin was the first to pit at lap 215. Reddick has 5 laps fresher tires than Hamlin. Bubba Wallace and Christopher Bell, 5 and 6 laps fresher tires. How much a difference will that make when we get down to the last couple of laps?
Well, but that's what my point was, Mike, is the fact that he had to do that as a third place car and falling off the pace, right? They had to make sure that they had enough laps that they were going to be able to get the lead that they were after in the first place.
Yeah, and that little exchange right there with Kyle Busch being hard to pass cost him a half a second on that lap. So those are the kinds of laps that you don't want to have.
And those were the comments you talked about in pre-race, because Kyle Busch was not happy when he was told of Denny Hamlin's comments on Hamlin's podcast this week. It didn't sound as if Kyle had listened to the podcast, but clearly his team has been struggling. And here is what Denny Hamlin said after hearing Kyle Busch's comments.
And that's the thing I love about Denny. I mean, he can separate everything that he does, right? And you read this, I'm a podcast host, so I got to answer the questions about relevant topics. Well, he answered them honestly, and he's going to get in the race car and he's going to drive for Joe Gibbs Racing. And guess what? He's banged doors with his own car up here in 3 and 4 to try to win the race and cost his own car a chance at winning. So he's great at separating things and multitasking at a high level.
All right, well, let's turn the volume down on the podcast and check with Larry on his trends for the rest of this race.
Yeah, Mike, this is no reflection on Denny Hamlin, but I do hope my trend falls into place like it did at Bristol last week. If you look at the 8 races so far in 26, the average of the last caution is 21 laps to go, which would be about 2 laps from now, lap 246. And we've had 2 overtime finishes, Echo Park Speedway in Atlanta and last week at Bristol.
Larry, a very smart fellow sitting right to my right, says wishing and hoping is not a strategy, right?
It's my strategy right now.
Hope is never a good strategy.
Strategy, hope, engaged.
14th place, Alex Bowman, Corey Heim in a rare Cup start. I think it'll become less rare as things move on as last year's truck champion. You know, if he was eligible for truck points, he'd be 3rd in the standings once he started running truck races regularly here after the season started.
Well, he kept running those truck races because he kept winning them all and had a chance to win $500,000 at Bristol. Wound up a little bit short, but Corey Heim is one of the great prospects coming up through the ranks and has definitely done everything that you can do in truck racing, and he's done a great job every time that he's got in this Cup car. And today, you know, he's right there racing inside the top 15, racing for let's see, 14th position.
Yeah. So the rules, NASCAR's rules require you run all the races to be eligible for the championship. But if you start running races after the season has started and then run them all, well, that kind of meets the spirit of the rule, if not the letter.
See that 35 car of Riley Herbst right there, Corey Heim's teammate. He's actually done a great job today, having a decent run. We saw the same thing last week at Bristol. Bowman getting a lot of laps in on the 1.5 mile racetrack. I actually thought he was going to keep going to the front, but kind of stalled out as he got close to the top 10.
Bowman drops to the bottom to make a run at Herbst. This is for a 15th position. Puts 3 of the Hendrick cars in the top 15 with Byron 17th.
I've been glued on this number right here for quite some time. Just pay attention to it. Little by little, he's nibbling on that lead. Denny Hamlin. 19 to go. There's time. This can happen. This is far from over.
Oh, it can happen. And I think, you know, it's just a matter of how big the chunks are at the end of this run. When does that 11 car shut off again with that right front tire?
He's taking a half second. I mean, he's just kind of slowly but surely running him down lap after lap. And that math works out. He will get there.
Well, next week we move from the 1.5 mile to the fastest speedway on earth at Talladega, Alabama, and look at NASCAR. They have flipped the script on the stage lengths. Stage 1's going to be a grind, 98 laps, but stage 2 and 3 at 45 laps apiece. What do you think, Larry?
I think once we get to stage 3, you'll see wide open throttles.
Hammer down and get out of the way.
And that's exactly what they're trying to accomplish. Take that fuel mileage strategy situation out of those super speedways. Great call, and I'm looking forward to calling that race because of that.
Talladega next Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern time on Fox.
Going to be a good one, folks.
Denny Hamlin has won the last 2 mile-and-a-half track races on the circuit. Last driver to win 3 straight was Martin Truex back in 2017.
Well, I think Reddick's going to get
another
there,
couple tenths.
Yeah. He's going to get there, but how close can he get? And what happens when he gets to the point of having to be right on the back bumper of that 11 car? You know, he's got, what, 5 laps or so fresher tires than Denny Hamlin.
Starting to slip up here. It's a big slip there.
And this is when you're going to see it. Every lap that ticks by just becomes harder and harder for Denny Hamlin to keep that car driving correctly as those tires get worn out.
He's moving around the racetrack. He's starting to slip around. That's 31.93 to a 69 behind him. That's a big chunk there.
Now,
and as he starts getting closer, you get the toe off of him, right, Kevin? You start getting the toe, but then you get a little too close, and you'll start to get the toe is pull off of that car in front of you. The draft that weight car has in it, it's going to pull you right to them. But once you get too close to them, you start getting tight and in trouble, having to move around on the racetrack.
Well, the one thing I've liked about Tyler Reddick's car is he can run down like this. He can run a little bit lower than the car in front of him. So see that distance keeps getting a little bit less every time we make a lap here around this racetrack.
He's there. Now it's time to start racing.
Now, win and you're in is over, as are the playoffs. We have the chase format now for the final 10 races. But winning is still especially important because there's a huge point bonus for winning. It's not just a normal progression of points from first, second, third. The winner gets a big point boost, and that's allowed Reddick to enjoy the point standing lead so far all of this season. But Hamlin can eat into that lead with a win here today if he can hold on with 12 to go.
This is going to be a tough one to hold on to. 12 laps is a long ways to go.
Well, he's going to make, he's moving around too. He's definitely searching. Now he's moved down on the track.
I would not have done that. He's going to give up a ton of ground to Tyler Reddick right here.
Watch this.
Unless he feels like something's wrong with that car. Those 2 corners, he gave up his whole lead.
Well, he's trying to take the air off. That's exactly what you want to do. Do not, whatever you do, don't give Tyler Reddick the outside, right, Kevin?
Yeah, and he gave him the outside on this end last lap, and now Reddick's going to go to the bottom.
He's been diamond in the corner and coming down, staying high this time.
Yeah, and as soon as he gets to that left rear quarter panel, this is over for Denny Hamlin.
Whoa, it's for the win.
10 to go, and Reddick, the pole sitter, goes back to the lead. And those 5-lap fresher tires show up.
You know, but the call was to put him in that position. It wasn't like you do it, you short pitted him because you just did it for doing it. You had to do it to get to track position, to even put yourself in this opportunity. I love the call. It just didn't work out. I hear you. It's not over. 10 to go. Anything can happen at this place. We've seen it. Larry's giving me trends all over the place. Lap cars coming.
Denny Hamlin having a look. Here's Hamlin's radio.
Stay after it. You never know if he has his tires go right here. He's had trouble with that earlier.
Hey guys, Denny Hamlin, you mentioned it, trying to go 52 laps on this set of tires. That's 10 more laps than he's run on a set of tires the entire race.
Had to, though. That's the only way he got this opportunity. You had to short pit him enough to go from third to the lead.
Well, I'm sure they're happy to see Michael Jordan back at the racetrack because every time he shows up, they seem to win. So
I'd come too.
I don't think he's missed one of Reddick's wins, has he, this year?
If I was driving one of his cars right now, I'd stop and pick him up myself.
We're 8 laps away from having a caution-free race in Kansas, but for the 2-stage ends. And even though Kyle Larson led 77 laps,
he's drove right back to his bumper with Austin Dillon, a lapper right in front of them.
Yeah,
move to the outside. Here comes a run.
It's really strange that Reddick drove all the way up to him, passed him, drove by him, and now Denny Hamlin has stayed right with him and passing back for the lead.
Here we go. Austin's in the front. Look at the Reddick's got that outside line. It was going to be interesting to figure out what Austin Dillon was going to do. That time it hurt Denny Hamlin. He had a run too.
Well, if Reddick is worried about that right front tire, he's got no room to baby it for these final 6 laps.
Well, you can hear the throttle in that car. He's without a doubt tight.
Still 2.5 off the limit.
We've seen the right front come apart on the 45 earlier in the race. Here's Denny looking to the inside. Austin Dillon, that lapper's
right
getting
there.
in trouble.
45.
That's right, Mike. Got an offense. It's fun to see that guy nervous.
5 laps to go.
Yeah. Reddick saying loose in that race car. Can't get into the corner, and that's why you see Denny Hamlin approach him. Denny needs to put the pressure on the rear of that car and try to loosen up even more if he can get close enough. 5 to go.
Yeah, I agree with him. You see the 2 leaders with 5 laps to go in your mirror, and just get out of the way and let them race.
Well, Dillon was trying to stay on the tail end of the lead lap so he could battle Alex Bowman there for position, but now goes a lap down. 4 to go.
2 more lappers. They're going to give him trouble too.
Teammates Bowman and Byron ahead.
You got Denny fighting tight conditions on old wore out tires and Reddick loose.
Jamie?
I talked to Michael Jordan right before the start of the race, and the first thing he said is our biggest concern today is boss man Denny Hamlin. He was well aware of the fact that Denny came into the garage first thing this morning to work on notes from simulation. He was concerned that would be their biggest threat as they battle it out here for the win.
Well, Hamlin now is right in Reddick's shadow, and here he comes.
You can tell Reddick's a little bit easy getting into the corners. That's his loose end condition.
Yeah, and he's all of a sudden started using the whole racetrack right up against the wall through the middle of both ends of the racetracks, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So it's just
We're out of fuel!
He's in the wall and out of fuel. Oh my gosh!
Side, stay on tight.
Hamlin back to the lead.
Well, that's exactly what Denny Hamlin's guys were saying. Just stay with it right here. You just don't know what's going to happen, and you're seeing it happen right now.
As Hamlin pulls away, Tyler Reddick somehow has enough gas in the tank to hang on to it, and now mounts a charge. Reddick coming back after him. A spinner, turn 4. First yellow flag of the day for cause.
You just can't make this stuff up.
You cannot script this, can you?
No.
Coming to the white.
But Cody Ware spun in turn 4 as the leaders came to the white flag.
Reddick's going to have to pit, though.
They'll re-rack and all get another chance. Larry, can you believe this? What do you do?
Well, Mike, as many laps as they've got on their tires, I mean, might be some people roll the dice. We got 16 on the lead lap. I'm not sure how in the world you don't come get 4 tires. Don't rule out somebody may try 2, though, just for a 2-lap run.
It's going to be 1 in the pits. I agree. I do not think you're going to stay on this racetrack and win today. A lot of nerves, a lot of pressure coming down. You got Bell. He's in 4th, fastest pit crew. Reddick a little bit struggling in the pits. Denny Hamlin, his guys are extremely fast.
You got to pit right here, because if you don't, I mean, they are going to blow your doors off through the middle of 1 and 2.
This is why these guys got paid the big bucks.
Here are your pit crew rankings coming into today's race. With Christopher Bell at the top, Denny Hamlin's crew in 5th.
Where's 45?
Not in the top 10 coming in here. We're going to go to overtime. Austin Dillon will get the free pass. We will restart with 17 lead lap cars, but 16 teams have to decide, do we stay or did we go? And let's listen into Tyler Reddick's radio. What happened?
Talk to us. What happened there? Ran out of fuel. Had to go to pump 2. All right. I had plenty of fuel in it. We should not have any concern there. So don't know what happened there.
Yeah, and when he ran out of fuel right there, he also ran into the wall. So a lot of things happening getting into turn 3 that he had to deal with. Hit the fence, turn the switch on.
Crew Chief Billy Scott there talking to his driver. Larry, explain this pump 2 situation.
Yeah, the fuel cell has 2 lift pumps in it, and they know when they run out of fuel, they can throw the switch and it goes to a reservoir. They know exactly how many laps they can go off that reservoir. Obviously, it must have been enough if he threw the switch.
Pit road's open, green light. We're going to see it right here.
Stay with us next on Fox. Indy cars from the Grand Prix of Long Beach coming at you after the Cup race is over. All right, here they come, counting. The 2 leaders are in. Larson is in.
Big advantage.
Bell from 4th. Regan.
The code words for Christopher Bell in 4th place were Asparagus or Captain Crutch. No conversation about the car. It is 2 tires for him. And Brad Keselowski, they were always going to make sure they came to pit road. 2 tires for him as well.
Tyler Reddick in the 45, his call was just follow and stay close to the 45. You saw the 45 came in for fuel there, guys, and he jumps 45 out just behind the 11.
Now to Clint's point, no problem with the first 2 getting out first because a bunch of lapped cars separated them in the caution line from the 3rd place cars and beyond. We'll recap who stopped and who stayed out after this. Coming up next on Fox, the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach, a long-running street circuit event. It's going to be a great one. Felix Rosenquist is on the pole, and you will see that. The road to the Indy 500 continuing next, only on Fox. But first, overtime in Kansas. In the AventHealth 400, there are the tires taken on this stop. The first 10 took 2 tires. Chase Briscoe, the first car on 4 tires. Every car on the lead lap stopped. Now remember last fall, Chase Elliott restarted 10th in the last stop. He was the first car on 4 tires. And watch what happened. There is Elliott, the light blue car on the restart.
Yeah, and it all just works out for him on these restarts as far as everything that opens up, and he just kept his foot in it, carried his momentum. These 2 cars up front, the 11 and 23, have a little bit of contact right here, and Chase Elliott hasn't lifted yet.
And with 4 fresh tires, he whips around both Wallace and Hamlin and scores the surprise win.
And it could happen just like that again. This thing is wide open right now because these restarts, when we get into these situations, just become wild, Clint.
Got a lot of cars taking the wave around here, so that will give the lead lap cars a clear path behind the pace car. The first 10 with 2 tires, and from Briscoe on back with 4 tires.
With the gap that the 11 and the 45 had on the field, it'd be hard to see that from the box, but from up here, bird's eye view, they had enough gap possibly to put 4 tires on those 2 cars and still have that lead. That was an opportunity that just wasn't able to present itself because of the vision and everything else. It would have been a gamble, but I think they may have had time.
Well, we've seen Denny Hamlin struggle on a couple restarts today compared to Larson and Reddick and some of these cars around him. So he's going to have to get a great restart because he's got a few of the best in the business right behind him with Reddick, Larson, Bell, that are always pretty aggressive on these restarts to make something happen.
It's game on.
So those 2 Toyotas will take the front row, just opposite positions from where they started the day. In row 2, Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell, who is plus 10 on restarts today.
I think this jump comes down to your help behind. I like Reddick having Bell, another Toyota behind him. Larson, he's going to be trigger happy to get to the bottom of Hamlin. That's his only shot to win this race. Try to get him 3 wide as fast as possible, in my opinion.
Well, there's a couple things that could happen right here. I like to be on the outside lane. If you can stay even through 1 and 2, that outside lane is going to prevail down the back straightaway. You just can't give up your right rear if you're in that second lane, and you don't want Denny Hamlin to get put 3 wide.
All right, keep looking back. Wallace, Keselowski row 3, Gibbs and Elliott row 4. Then you get to the first guys with tires. Briscoe in row 5 with 4 tires fresh. Cindric, Byron Buscher. 2-lap shootout as we go to overtime, sponsored by Credit One Bank. All right, will the winner come from the front row on this hopefully final restart? They come to the restart zone for Credit One overtime.
Green, green, green.
Oh, Hamlin gets a great restart, but he's got no pusher.
Almost too good. Watch Larson. Here he comes.
Larson looking low and gets there. He and Reddick will battle.
Block that 20 on the outside. Missed the block, Reddick.
Bell with the head of steam on the outside, gets hit by Reddick, bounces off the wall, holds on but denies Hamlin. Clear track for the 5. Kyle Larson
coming around. Still green, coming to the white flag.
Now, if the leader takes the white under green, the next flag ends the race.
Yeah,
One car spins at the entrance of pit road, down on the apron.
White flag's out.
Leaders head into turn 1.
Reddick with a huge run to the bottom of the racetrack.
Track is clear.
Here comes Hamlin on that outside. Oh, he's in the fence. Look at Reddick. Races on down the backstretch, Mike.
Toyota Chevy up front. Here comes Briscoe with theirs 4 tires, 3rd on the inside, digging hard. Reddick slides up in front of Larson, and the pole sitter is going to come to the line for win number 5.
What a great job by Tyler Reddick. I thought he had no chance there with about a lap to go, Clint.
Thank you, guys. Apologies for the 20.
I thought that race was for sure Larson's. How he got back and got underneath Larson, which is where Larson wanted him to go, be on the bottom, and was able to just drive right by him. Power move, Tyler Reddick on top once again.
The 30-year-old from Corning, California gets his 13th career win today and becomes the first driver since Dale Earnhardt in 1987 to win 5 of a season's first 9 races. Christopher Bell spun coming to the white, but down to pit road and then pulled away, so no caution needed.
Yeah, I think he actually broke a toe link when he hit the fence down the back straightaway, and then it just spun out.
2311 Racing, owned by Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin, has now won 4 of the last 9 races at Kansas Speedway. Grand Prix of Long Beach coming up next on Fox. What a finish.
Sure was, buddy.
I think Michael Jordan's going to get a new nickname. I mean, he's always been the GOAT, but now he's Tyler Reddick's lucky charm.
Well, I can promise you he's enjoying it. I don't even know that he can believe it. He's just looking around like, I'm going to take this all in because this is not.
Well, he was beat. Did you see how bummed out he was when that car was out of gas? That's why you come to these NASCAR races. He's been a fan his whole life. He's said that. We've documented it. And that's why he's still coming and now an owner. There's not many sports that can give you that all in one day.
What an overtime finish. Here's Jamie Little.
Tyler Reddick's team ran across the grass to congratulate their driver. Tyler, I don't even know where to start with this. A couple laps to go, you stumble, then the caution comes out, you have to pit, and then you go up against Denny Hamlin and everybody else. How did you prevail there?
Yeah, you know, just really blessed with the late caution. How about that? Was that nuts or what? Woo! I couldn't believe it. I mean, first off, I feel like I have to say, obviously, just for how I feel, and I never like being on the other side of it. Really hate that for Christopher Bell. You know, it's good, hard racing. 11 came up, and I took off tight. So, not thrilled. I got Christopher there. I hate that for him because he was having a good, solid day. So, man, it's just these late race restarts. It gets really, really crazy there. And obviously, I had to run on the 5, and I was just shocked I was able to get to his inside there. So, just an incredible supply house, Toyota Camry, all day long. So, yeah, it was really thankful we got that late caution.
I know you said yesterday the focus has been getting back here to victory lane at Kansas, where you guys used to be. How much time and effort does this team put in to get back to this moment?
Yeah, a lot. We were really solid here last fall, and the car was a lot like that again here this weekend. So we didn't lead a lot of laps, unfortunately. I let Denny get away there in stage 1, and we were just behind running them in most of the time there. But yeah, to be able to make the right call there, great call by Billy to put 2 tires on. And we didn't have the cleanest restart. I tried to cover the 20. He got outside, and yeah, we were 3 wide and just all ran out of room.
How about MJ, the boss man? He shows up. You guys dominate practice, get the pole. What is it about his presence? You guys just seem to step up.
Got to deliver for boss man. If he's going to come hang out with us, we got to get him dubs. That's what it's all about.
All about the wins. There's MJ. 5th time this season. How about this moment? We watched those emotions. What was that like watching those closing laps?
Well, I mean, look, I'm racing against Denny. So in essence, I really wanted to beat him because I know we're going to talk a lot of trash a little bit later. But it was a good race. When we started to run out of fuel, I didn't know what was happening. But 23-11, all the guys drove well today. I mean, you know, we finished, I think, all 4 cars in the top 15. So, I mean, that says a lot about the program. And this kid is on fire. You know, I don't even know what to say. I don't know if I can cool him down. He's unbelievable. That was an unbelievable last couple laps, and I'm proud of him. I'm proud of the whole team.
Michael, how much fun is this for you, the wave that you guys are on this season?
You know, when you win, it's always fun, you know, and right now it's fun for everybody at 23-11. So, I mean, me being here and being able to see all the wins, I am so happy for the team, and I just think we need to continually build on this, without a doubt.
Congratulations, MJ. Tyler Reddick, he gets the winning flag, and it's the 5th win on the season.
Boy, if there's anybody who's used to winning, it's Michael Jordan. 5 wins. A Tyler Reddick. Coming up next on Fox, the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. The road to Indy continues from Long Beach live on Fox. But first, we've got a few more of today's drivers to interview. All 37 cars running at the finish as Reddick beats Kyle Larson by 1/10 of a second. Stick around.